Hello, everyone. First question, do you hear us? If everything else is okay? Are you with us in the chat? Yes, okay, that's perfect. Thank you. So I think we can begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Today we have a new way of running things. We've got a new format for our webinar. We've got a discussion. And with us is Dominik Mazur, founder and CEO of TakesCare. And hello, Dominik. If you would like to say something about yourself, feel free.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting. It's my pleasure to be with you today evening. As you mentioned, I am co-founder of TakesCare. In TakesCare, we have two projects. One is TakesCare.com, and new one, which we just finished in terms of medical TRs in last year, is TakesCare AI. This project focuses on prediction pain for breast cancer patients. So we work on B2B and B2C market as well.
All right, that's great. Thank you. And I am Filip Begieło, lead machine learning engineer at AppLover. You probably met me if you've been at our previous webinars. And as we've got a lot of topics to cover today, a lot of things to discuss, I think it is best to begin. And to open our discussion, I think we'll start over with the current HealthTech AI landscape. What do you think about it, Dominik? Is that okay?
Yes. In terms of...
Go ahead.
Okay, in terms of the landscape, actually we can observe the booming for AI. There's always question how much AI is in AI. But if we focus on glimpses for some areas, so probably we can focus on diagnostic enhancement, some treatment, personal and predictive analysis, where is usage AI, as well as some operation effectiveness and patient care. Of course, the more popular usage of AI we have in accurately interpreted image, X-ray for this moment is one of them.
Machine vision, right?
Yes.
Aiding the specialists to analyze the RTG scans, for example, or other medical imaging. The brain imaging, of course. There's a lot of that. I think that it is also worth to discuss that those are like very great systems that we kind of seem to be going into a bigger thing, like something like a big decision support system, big diagnostic system, probably even supported by some chatbots or some interface for the user. Basically complex approach from beginning to start to like take care of the patient and help him at every step, right? Assist the medical personnel during that.
Yes, I suppose an area where is popular AI as well is oncology. A good example is IBM Watson. In terms of some other areas, some solution from Google DeepMind for predict and eye disease. If we look or glimpse in some electronic health records for personalized treatment plans, there is as well some solution like Oncra Medical, which based on the data which gather could define for treatment of patient with defined some potential effectiveness outcome.
The last thing, the Oncra Medical, I think it fits like perfectly into that big complex system. And I think I heard about a similar project financed by Pfizer, where the patient is basically able to connect with his specialist or with a supporting chatbot that makes the initial screening and helps him basically with early detection of some diseases and helps him along the way. So yeah, it's really taking off at every possible step. So yeah, like we really see a lot of operational effectiveness and patient care in healthcare.
Yes, and a lot of before us, in front of us. Yes, it's a lot of new opportunities in this area.
Yeah. And with all those changes, like I think it's really important to also consider how is the public reception of machine learning. How is the end user taking in all that, all the changes, all the new technologies. Probably every single one of us had that one moment when they were taken aback by a chatbot where they didn't expect it, or some other thing like that. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I suppose here we have a few dimensions, because it's some kind of mix and trade-off, from my perspective, between some technological advance and the balance with concern over privacy and some data security. And what is very crucial, especially in medicine and health, to keep in back of our mind, not to lose some human touch in the care process and healthcare process of patient. And of course, we can talk about some overcoming skepticism in this area, some understanding how works algorithms, if we are able to understand what's happening inside. And what I mentioned, how to keep the balance between human and the machine. This is some crucial and very important to this reception for machine learning powered solution.
The trust we extend to the person, but not to the machine, right?
Yes.
And yeah, there's a lot of that where people prefer even like waiting longer, or probably even sometimes much longer to just receive care from the real human, right? So I think this is also like going a bit ahead of ourselves, but it's worth to remember that we need to like aid the humans, not replace them, right? And this is also like in the trust there.
Yes.
We need our end users to understand that it's not only like a soulless processing. Like we don't just extend a diagnostic tool and you get diagnosed, bam, this is the end. No human factor whatsoever. There is also like in the system a person that looks at it, and he only takes it as one of the informations, and he's the one taking decisions at the end of the day.
Yes, we can observe some, from my perspective, not full understand discussion that AI replaces people. So what actually happened with AI is not revolution. If we go through all areas where AI appears, but some evolution, because this is not something new. It's something which is proved. And if we're thinking as some advance and some opportunity for us, use some technology to cut process in treatment or some diagnosis, and to treat AI models which are created by people, of course, there's an internal learning process as well. But it's a huge opportunity for provide more cheaper, more faster, and deliver this kind of solution in healthcare, for instance, in psychologists. Support place where people never ever could obtain and be able to get this kind of support. So
yeah, like an additional tool, right?
Yes.
And we've got a question that I think also touches on a very interesting aspect of the question we were just discussing. And let me read it out. I'm working on a number of medical-related AI products. AI does make mistakes. So how do you think this works with regulators, and how do you believe we will be able to gain their trust? It's not only the patient that has to trust the system. And I think this is a perfect angle, since this is a multi-level problem of trust. Like, the user needs to trust the system, the person making the system needs to trust the system to release it, and finally the regulator needs to trust the system. I think we'll discuss this more in the regulatory frameworks part of our discussion, but if you want to weigh in on the question, feel free.
It's a very good question, because actually this is what we mentioned on the beginning. Around of us, a lot of new initiatives, entities appear as AI companies. But at the end of the day, this is a question of what it means. You can create some sophisticated model. This is our experience. We create some sophisticated model, and we had a problem in the beginning with the quality of data. So if you feed your model not right data, and there is no space for explainability and interpretability of this data, this is nothing. This is one aspect. Yeah. Actually, our solution, our application is the process of certification as a medical application. And probably the answer for this question is, even though if we have some application which more or less useful in terms of some parameters, always at the end of the day, there should be some gate which confirm that this is safe for end user, for patient, or for another person. So I suppose we have this kind of organization, and we probably talk about this later.
Yes, right. One thing I would want to add here, and this also goes a bit ahead of ourselves. I think the problem of trust here is also dependent on how we, as AI researchers, approach bad actors, so to say. Like people who develop faulty solutions and sell them as something revolutionary. Like you just said, you can basically take anything and says it's AI, right? And it's important to probably regulate such things to ensure that not only we can weed out those probably not so great solutions, but also the general public. And with that, the trust will probably grow over time.
Yes, and to close for this moment, this topic, as a TakesCare, we have as well some medical provider status. So what's very important in this area is some security and privacy. So we got tons, above 2 million of very sensitive data with anonymization on our side to avoid problems, to quick connect patient versus data. And but the process when we get this data, this is very long, because we cooperate with some hospital in Wrocław, which is breast cancer center, and doctors engage and invite their patient to our project with very precise explanation. What is the goal? How looks like the process for next few weeks? How we can support? And from our side, we of course didn't know name, because certification and the process, and probably one of some crucial. Of course, you can explain, but as well, you give some consents with very precisely explanation what we can do with the data
Right.
and what is prohibited. This is crucial. The clearance and clear rules how we would like to work on this kind of AI projects.
Right, and I think we during answering this question, we kind of moved over to the key principles for AI safety. We kind of started defining which of those principles should guide the development of AI in healthcare. And you already mentioned reliability and robustness, explainability, which is for me like probably the most important thing in healthcare, since this is really the killer. Like you can't sell a solution, AI based solution, or any for that matter, that can be explained, that can be understood. You just can't sell a black box that says, oh, you are or you are not suffering from this disease or not, without some proof, without understanding how we arrived at this conclusion. So this is for me like the perfect thing here.
Yes, and of course some additional very important point, bias mitigation.
Right.
To be equitable in terms of some health outcome. This is very crucial as well. Here,
right, yeah. I mean, to properly represent everyone in your data sets, right? Yes. To not only develop for one population, but for everyone, to ensure that if we develop a solution, it is fit for the most people we can reach, right? We don't leave anyone out of it. We won't say that, oh, this won't work for you, but we understand that this needs to work for everyone, right?
But I suppose the answer how to provide more fit is tough, but very simple. You should get data based on the same steps and procedure from another population, and compare what you get on your previous model train on some bunch of data and what we get in new one bunch of data. So it's not easy because you have to engage people.
It's a complex task. Like
yes,
you sometimes don't have the physical means of reaching as much of people as you would like, right? And I think that this also touches a bit another problem that's a key principle that should guide the AI, security and privacy. Like more the security part, in the understanding that the model is secure for everyone, but I think that security and privacy here should mean something a bit different. That we can trust the model, that our data is not used in a wrong way, right?
And always based on the intention. The same data could be used in right or wrong way. But the crucial is to save this data for situation or some kind of unauthorized access or some breaches. And this is very important to anonymization this sensitive data and put, let's name some kind of firewalls and gates which secure us in the potential problem situation.
We are handling medical data after all, like very personal data that nobody wants to leak out, right? And even apart from that can't be leaked out.
Yes,
because it's just too personal. Yeah.
Yes, as our main business, TakesCare.com, we carry out online consultation with 100,000 users, and we gather very sensitive data. Some of data must be reported to national health system in Poland. But one of this point to check some routine black box security tests, some kind of pen tests, and define very strictly who, on which level, with what kind of rules could have the access. Even though if I'm end user and I have my own profile with all this data,
right?
We should predict the situation that I lost my password, somebody's password, lost my my phone, and there's more and more popular two authentication factor. That we have one step, and then we have second step of confirmation that me is me.
Yeah, of course. Like we constantly need to like upgrade our security, since as with everything, like there is development of both sides, right? And I think this nicely connects with our another thing we would like to discuss. I think the ethical considerations related to AI in healthcare, and this includes transparency, accountability, privacy, and fairness. And there's a bit of everything of that in the principles we defined, but I think we would probably do best to probably discuss this a little bit more, like focusing on each of those parts.
There are some philosophical perspective or some ethical dilemmas.
Right.
It depends where we are. In Europe, we have very restrict some GDPR rules, which actually are more or less some elements adopted in other countries around the world. But in terms of transparency, it's very important to come up with idea how to communicate common people, not on very sophisticated technical language or some science language. How AI is used in some particular case, and how looks like decision-making process, and what kind of data are used for fit this model to carry out this decision and on the output. So it's one point very important. In terms of privacy, it's what about we talk. All regulation with consents, my privileges and rules for cancel and request for deleted data and confirmation in close period of time. In GDPR is about 72 hours when I submit the request. My data should be deleted. In terms of fairness, this is something not easy point, but to be ready for guarding against AI algorithmic some perpetual healthcare disparities. So to understand how it works.
I think like going a bit back to the transparency and of course privacy, since those are kind of intertwined with each other. This is a perfect solution to kind of walk your user through the process, right? To inform them at every step that, hey, we're taking this data and we're processing it that way and we're using it for that. Since most of the current solutions inform you in like a tiny little font that your data might be processed, and as a user I don't think it feels right, since you don't know for what the data is processed, right? And there will be much more trust and consent if you understand as a user that this is for your benefit, right?
Yes.
That maybe we use it for something other, but we tell you, right? And the main goal is the benefit of the user.
Yes, but we can observe a quite interesting situation. Yes. Nowadays, everyone's afraid about the data, personal data in terms of usage AI. But we have a lot of very popular social application where we, based on our willing, we put a lot of intimate data about ourselves, about our families, loved one. And most of people, nobody care what they are doing in this area. There's another topic, how many this kind of data are gathered by this platform without our knowledge about it. Based on our acts, on some customs, and usage goes by some paths. So
and then the third-party users as well, since you're putting it out for everyone, right? So anyone can basically go there and use a basic web scraper, right, to get that. I totally get you here. Yeah,
and probably in this application, there's a tons of algorithms which based on your likes, according to this interview which I mentioned you on Stanford. This application can predict your next steps or your next life.
I mean, with this amount of data, you can do pretty much everything, right? And the problem here is again like being upfront to the user that, hey, we're using that. And this I think hits the nail on the head with the privacy and also responsibility, since you some applications don't even need to like actively gather the data, right? The thing you're talking about, it's like written in the code of like if in the very concept of that application to gather data, right? Even if you don't use it, to interact with it, you need to like put some data there, right? So like the responsible thing to do would be to inform the user like, hey, you're putting out data that we will be using one way or another.
Yes. So, maybe I give you some example. Excuse me. In our project, we submit to some certification organization that we bought or gather 3-4 types of data. When we integrate some certificate medical devices, and we start to track and gather this data to our ETL model, it's turned out that this data is very precision. Based on these 4 groups, automatically we observe that we gather by default about 18.5 different parameters. So probably we're not aware how very precisely and what we can track by using some medical device solution. For the model, it's very useful because we can create some. We work in Python in some like GDBM model, and one of the parameters which we define what number of data we should consider to build the model in what period of time, and what we should omit, and what kind of information needs some augmentation because it's not enough.
Right.
For the model.
The usual like processing data, the engineering of data, right? Extracting what you need. This is like essential. I think it is time for us to maybe move on to the regulatory frameworks that we would like to see, that we would probably like to discuss. And I'm interested in your perspective on the existing already regulatory frameworks. Like, what do you think about what we got now, and maybe this will start us going?
Maybe some open question. Why we need some regulatory framework. I suppose actually in Europe for healthcare versus AI, the first regulatory was issued by 2022-23. In this year was issued AI Act. And what is the purpose of these documents? I suppose the main purpose is to protect against another markets, protects the data which are available for free in Europe. This is one point. And another point is, and maybe question, if regulatory body full understands what's happened in terms of AI. I suppose most of us did not have a whole picture what's happening in this topic.
Yeah, and even the researchers, right?
This is first step. This is first step to try to define some framework how we should cooperate. In this case, in health, in some ensure safety way with ethical usage, and define the path how we should test some AI solution, and mainly regulatory focus on some data protecting. And this is what we mentioned before, algorithms, transparency, and validation of tool before we start usage in some real clinical environments. This is one point. Another point, the regulatory generally could make sense. Around the world, more or less, we have the same approach, the same level of focus on the topic. For instance, FDA, which of course main focus is on develop new drugs, new applications.
Right, the medical equipment. Right.
Define some regulatory for in the same case some European Medicine Agency. But the question how it looks like, for instance, in another party in Asia, Africa, Australia, how this region try to sort out and define some regulation. But
right, there is like cooperation between probably the USA in general, right? The Americas probably, and the Europe, right? But the other parts of the world, not so much. Yeah, I agree with that.
But this kind of regulatory has some weakness as well, because regulatory will be always behind technology.
Yeah, a reactive way, so to speak.
Yes, rapid in development, new models, new technology, or reuse some technology. And in terms of regulatory, some slow process of adoption. And what it causes that some potential innovation could be stifling by regulatory.
Of course.
And if we compete, from business point of view, if we compete by region, the question is, okay, we can protect our market, we can protect what is crucial, our citizens, but and we care about this, but how our side care about this, or they want to build faster, maybe not over regulatory, but with some less rules, but quite quick introduce no solution, which automatically cause that there will be some leader in area.
Yeah. Some regions may fear the regulations simply because they don't want to stay behind, right?
Yes.
Since, as you said, and I agree, the regulations can be stifling, right? And also, I think there is a bit of probably specialization, right, in the areas of research, since different regions may regulate different parts of the research, right? The AI, for example, we see a lot of machine vision tools, the early ones, for example, arising in Asia, where this is where the first technology was really supported by the universities there, by the government, and I think with regulations like on some parts and not on another, there is a lack of like free flow of informations between those regions.
Yes, and one of key points is the role of public-private partnership. This is crucial. Exchange some theoretical knowledge with practical knowledge, and figure out and turn out and came up with the best solution for some particular area.
Right. And one thing I want to mention, since it's really for me interesting, that some of the conclusions we arrived at here perfectly fit with what the AAMI, the Association for the Advancement of Medical Instrumentation Commission, what they stated lately in their statement for the AI in healthcare. They put a big focus on to not only develop a solution that returns good metrics, but to understand and to make it clear for the user, right? And to work on better management, better not only better models but also the data bias, and to probably fight some of the overtrusting technologies. So I think this perfectly shows that a lot of us, like working in the ML AI right now, are thinking the same thing, but there seems to be a lack of like unification, a lack of drive to really implement this, right? And I think with that, it will be worth to discuss the road ahead, basically, like what we see before us. And I think we started to talk a bit about the international collaborations, right? Like how we would like to see AI being regulated in different regions in cooperations with each other, right? Some kind of a global partnership on AI, gathering experts from different countries and working together on regulations that are providing safety, providing reliability, but are not stifling, right? A grassroots movement, but also enforced from the top, right?
Yes, but if we're thinking about the cooperation in terms of AI regulation from international point of view, to be honest, I am quite skeptic in this area. Of course, maybe we can define, but it's like you mentioned, some medical device regulation forum or some global partnership on AI organization to try to define some blueprint, some guideline. And of course, an AI or technology is some arm of business, country, regions, and of course we can agree on some high-level rules, but at the end of the day, it's important how we can compete with in other countries and in other areas. And of course, very crucial how we approach to a regulatory with reflecting some diverse ethical culture, some social value, and nobody be able to order everyone to be on the same level. It will be regulated. Like actually, we have another type of regulation like GDPR. Or any kind of data protection, I suppose. The same box of problem which we faces.
to provide the basic rights, but not to enforce how you need to provide them, or not to like force everyone to work on the same thing, right? To leave a bit of space for the competition, like to a friendly one, but still a competition, to nurture the growth, the research, right? Go ahead.
This is a very simple question. If I have some rules, some ethical, some cultural norms, and I have people in my country or my region have a very similar understanding what means data protection. For instance, in terms of kids or some verse data. But this is our understanding and our perspective, and we can willing that everyone's around of us share this, but we do not have any impact on it.
Well, you probably, as you said, like you probably never will have the 100% same understanding of such concepts. But I think it's worth to discuss them on international forum to maybe not enforce, like think what I think, but probably more like a crucible of ideas. You say, I think data protection should be like that. Somebody else from another part of the world says, no, I think the data protection should work like that. And basically from that, you find some common ground. And this is the minimum level you both agree on, the minimum level you enforce. Like not, I think this way and you should as well, but rather let's work on something together. But yeah, as you said at the beginning, we would like that to happen, but it probably won't.
Yes.
It would be good if it will, but it probably won't. Yeah.
But what is very important, especially in this topic, cooperation between industry and regulators, so open mind and willingness for, I suppose, ongoing dialogue between industry players and some regulatory. Maybe this is some kind of vision that it will be very wonderful if we could imagine the world when this collaboration based on some rules sandbox where we know what we'd like to train and check in terms of technology, and test this in some control environments, and there will be open platform for all stakeholders for discuss and try to understand why we would like to implement some solution. What's some kind of, from my perspective, some kind of more or less not real situation which could happen, but maybe makes sense if we focus on the area where we have impact. And
right. To have the ideal in mind, but work towards it. Like understanding that we will never be there, but we want to be there, right?
Yes. Maybe I give you an example. If we look into our model, for instance, one of the precision accuracy parameters, and we discuss with doctors who are involved in our projects and the hospital, what they think, and if we could compare with some historical data and try to catch a correlation between report pain events versus data which we have. This makes sense because it's clear. We put on the table what we have, we trust each other, and we know, and at the end of the day, the goal and some deliverables which we'd like to create is improve wellness and the quality of life of this patient.
Right. Like openness in sharing info, right? To achieve a goal. Yeah, this would be a good start, like to achieve at least a little step towards what we discussed, right? To agree that, hey, we have the same goal. Let's just share the info and work on this together. But we need to see more of that, and I hope we will, because without that, it will stay as it is.
Yes.
I agree wholeheartedly here. And I think this is like a very, very bright, very hopeful moment that we can end on a positive note here. And do you have any like closing remarks here? What do you want our listeners to take away from our discussion here?
I trust in people, and I suppose if we have some positive approach and willing usage solutions and trade-off between technology, human touch, regulation, and what we'd like to deliver, we have a bright future for this kind of solution. And for me, what is very important that usage AI, we can deliver solution, which I mentioned before, to people, to place where they not allowing to get high level medical health support. AI could
to help them
support these people. This is more important when you compare nothing versus get something which can open some treatment process and another healthcare items.
So, basically anything is better than nothing, right? Approach.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's perfect here. And as for me, I would like to look at the other part of the problem, since you summarized your part perfectly, I think, and there's nothing to add from me. I would like to say on the topic of cooperation and researchers working together. I would like to see more of the open source approach. I think we kind of touched upon this.
Yes.
Like sharing, maybe not the fine-tuned final model you got like a product, but maybe the basic architecture, so people can look at this, experiment with this, maybe iterate over this, understand what you're doing, trust you that you're doing what you say you're doing, like basically be open with your basic approach, so everyone can benefit from that.
And I suppose what we need a lot of real experts with ethical and human approach, which fully understand how to build sophisticated and multi-level models, and how to translate this technological science language to explain people what we'd like to deliver. I suppose is crucial. Because, actually we have a tons of experts on the high level information about AI, but this expertise knowledge is very crucial.
Right. To share it, like to bring everyone up so they can work on this as well. Right.
Absolutely.
And I think that summarize it perfectly. And it's time for a Q&A session.
Yes.
And I believe there was a question apart from the one we talked about. And let me read this. Performance monitoring. According to your experience, how should continuous monitoring of an AI tool performance in clinical settings be approached in order to ensure patient safety and accuracy over time?
Accuracy is very important, and another one is precision, because you could have very high accuracy, but maybe turn out that precision is very low.
Right.
Based on our experience, when we create the first model, the model trained for 17 hours, and from usage, especially when we gather data in every 15 seconds, it was tough. So what we have done, we spent about 4 weeks for cut this time 10 times. So actually we are able to train the model for every 5 minutes based on actual data which we get, we transform to ETL, and we send to our patient. Another very important point, creating model is a tough, but I suppose more a complicated process is the tuning the model. Especially when you have tons of buttons and tons of parameters, and try to catch the correlation between these parameters. And the crucial point is to create some kind of framework where we are able to constantly training, and when we get the answer, to compare if really happen. I give you some example. Our application, the main goal of our application is send probability appears in some period of time pane. Actually, without any level on the vast scale, but will be or not. And the first question, okay, if we figure out some probability and this patient takes a pill, how will know that this pain appears? So we create model in this way. Not all signals we send to patient, because in application we have some process of request patient to submit and pain evidence on some events, and then we can compare. Here is the results which we have from our model, but these results not be submitted or reported. And then we can get some feedback and compare in terms of timeline. It was, for instance, first PM, and this is first 15 PM. This means that it makes sense. So probably depends of what kind of data you work. We mainly focus on some time series data. And what actually you would like to do, what we have in our development pipeline, to create 3 another models and combine data from this model and put some average solution. Yes,
the ensemble approach.
Yes, it's the ensemble approach. And I suppose in a combination of models, because maybe it turns out that have 2 million data is a lot from our human perspective. But if you would like to train in more appropriate way the model, makes sense start. This is our example, like machine learning model, where the models do not need too much data, because if we put the same bunch of data to some deep learning model, probably model very quick learn something which be useless, and we are not be able to predict what we can predict on this machine learning. This is very sophisticated. To be honest, when you create the model, you really not finish work, but you start the work on
testing it, deploying it, seeing as it works, and I think like you touched a bit on it, and I think that also like a good approach here is deploying some kind of a shadow model, so to speak, like a model alongside your main model, the main model or main ensemble which makes the predictions, and your new retrained model alongside it, and comparing the predictions for like, I don't know, a week, a month, and switching the old one for new one only if you see that the new predictions are better in that time period. And this is something that I've done a lot of things like in my projects, and I think it is only probably the only safe way I know for now to really work in production with such models, especially in cases like you described, like the very sensitive ones. Right?
To be honest, the problem which we have, how to figure out which time window, bunch of data, amount of data makes sense to train the model. What is useful, what is not useful. It's one point. Another point, if we have 2 million of data about my biomedical parameters from medical devices, and only a few thousand paint reported data and information about process of drugs or pill taken, this is the question: how to prepare some augmentation. And at the end of the day, to be honest, everyone fascinated about AI and developing, but the training is so boring process.
Working with the data, like
you have to create some pipeline. We use a 1B application for visualization and gather of this training. But to be honest, we had discussion. Okay, if we do not have this process automated, who deciding in this week for train? I spent last week a few hours.
Who gets the short straw, right?
Yes. It's like this picture, how my friends understand that I am some AI architecture and how it's like in real life.
Yeah. Exactly that. Do we have any other questions? Because I don't think I see any new ones. If you have one, feel free to ask. Since I think we've got space for like one more question, maybe two short ones. I don't know. If there are any questions, feel free to ask.
What I would like to tell that, as you mentioned, we are open for cooperation.
Right.
We are able to show how we build our model, what we have on pipeline in terms of usage, new model for discussion, if it makes sense or if somebody has another experience. Because I suppose the sharing of knowledge is crucial. So you can contact with me or with Philip.
Sure. We are always open. We just reach us out on LinkedIn or basically anywhere where we are. I don't think we've got any more questions, so I think we will wrap up for today. Thank you all for attending. Thank you all for your attention, and thank you for your questions.
And thank you for the your time and invitation.
Yeah, it was really great to have you. This was a really good discussion. So thank you, and thanks everyone. And we will see you, I hope, on the other webinar we'll have in some time. Take care.
You.